questions. I see you have policy 2422 on the agenda for approval, or for first reading tonight. There were not copies over there tonight, so I guess it's possible to get a copy of what that says for approval to look at, right? How do I do that?
Yeah, just email me.
Okay, all right. I'll find your email on the website, I guess I'll, okay.
That's correct.
So I don't know how the public gets an idea of what the policy says. I mean, I would think they might be available, but I will go ahead and ask you for it. Thank you. I don't know what's in those standards. I know that, last month, I believe, the board passed a policy, a motion to write curriculum for the summertime. So I also know that apparently Mr. Wasco, you said that, that the sex ed curriculum that is going to be implemented in September is basically the same as you have been teaching in the past. Is that correct? I was not at that meeting.
Yeah, my statement from the meeting, I believe, was in the month of April.
Okay.
Stated something along those lines, yes.
Along those lines. Okay. So along those lines, I'm not exactly sure what to make of that. I have a copy of the sex education standards for the academic year 21-22, and they will be fully implemented this coming year. There's a lot more in there than I think was probably being taught in this district. So I know that you passed that motion to have teachers write new curriculum this summer. So I guess my question is, if you said that you're basically not changing the sex ed curriculum, then what would you be paying teachers to rewrite in the sex ed curriculum this summer?
I would just, this is comments section of the meeting, not question and answer, but I will refer you back to the meeting minutes for, I believe it was the month of April, when I made the statement regarding how the district was planning to move forward with the comprehensive health and physical education standards.
Okay, so I served on this board for 9 years, a number of years ago, and I have to say that when I was on that board, if there were questions from the public, they frequently received substantive answers. At that meeting, there was discussion back and forth. I would like to know what will be taught and what teachers are writing curriculum for that might not have been taught in the past. This new curriculum guide, which I'm welcome to share, I've got some extras if anybody wants to see it, has gender ideology taught for 2nd graders. It has masturbation taught in 5th grade. It has anal sex taught in 8th grade. And by 12th grade, they discuss the ability to consent to sexual relationships and dental dams. Does anyone know what a dental dam is? I don't really want to even, I'm embarrassed even saying some of these things in public. They are in here. I gave a copy of these to you a couple of months ago. I don't know whether you've looked at them or not. I don't know whether you believe that that's really what could be implemented. Some districts across the state, this is the state standards. I understand that there's some leeway as to what districts have to adopt. And in fact, some school districts, three of them, Garwood, I think was the most recent, to reject the standards and say they were not going to implement the new standards, but rather they were going to stay with the old standards. Other states and districts, including East Hanover, our neighbor, has decided to rather kind of circumvent them by establishing one day at the end of the school year while they will pay some attention to some part of that standards so that students aren't so exposed right before summer vacation. They won't be talking about it as much as students do. I don't know that that's going to really work. Kids talk whether it's June, July, or August, but that's how they've chosen to do that. The things that are in these standards, including the social and emotional standards, which are your district policy goal number 1 for next year, that sounds all warm and fuzzy and wonderful. We want children to be emotionally well-developed. I'm a parent, a grandparent, I was a teacher, and I was a board member in this district. I understand emotional development. I would recommend a movie called The Mind Polluters to you, which talks a lot about social and emotional development, and it's not the warm fuzzy stuff that we kind of might think that it's about. And basically what social and emotional welfare development is about, and a lot of these things in these sex standards are not traditional American cultural values, nor are they what traditional religions from Christianity to Judaism to Hinduism to Buddhism, many world religions teach. Some of us who are concerned about these standards across the nation, it's not just New Jersey, are being called radical. I would suggest that what is in these standards is radical, and perhaps if you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got several more copies, and I can get more. I know where those come from. I'd be glad to share them with anybody. So I guess in summing up, I would like a copy of the standards. Are you going to, this is a first reading, when would you slate them for final adoption?
Mrs. Ames, you're
Yes, I see,
5 minutes
thank you.
out,
Just
so.
finishing up. Would they be adopted next month, or can you give me a timeline?
Just listening to your comments, we appreciate.
You can't give me a timeline for when they would be adopted? Do you know? I mean, would it be next month?
They haven't even been approved today.
Right, but is the next reading next month, next board meeting?
That is correct.
Right,
Typically,
so then that
the
reading
board
would-
policies go
right.
through 2 readings, a first reading and a second reading. That is the typical order, and generally they follow board meeting, a first reading, and then typically it would then follow next month with the second reading.
Okay,
Not
but I'm a
necessarily,
member of the
but
public, I can't read it, this is the first board meeting, I can't read it, I will get it from you, and I formally request a copy of it, so I will get a copy. But a first reading should mean to me that it's available for people to read. This is a rather controversial curriculum, it's not standard, it's something that deserves, I think, public attention and public notice, which you're not giving tonight, so I will follow up. Thanks very much.
Appreciate your concern.
Thanks.
Thank you.